It is often said that most people are selfish. But are most people really selfish? Selfish by definition means someone who is interested in their own interest and has their own well being in their view when taking any course of action. I would be arguing, quite contrary to the mainstream view, that people aren't selfish at all, since to find out what really wants is a difficult endeavor which most people never dare to reflect upon, and that what people judge to be their own interest is really the interest of others, who they mistake as their own, and rarely do they serve their own interest. And last but not the least, living in a society which is a complex web of relationships which involves, and these relationships involve power plays, we encounter people who are in better positions of power to force their wills upon us. Knowing ourselves, oneself, and being oneself is a difficult task, and finding it too difficult, most people never dare to find out what they really want, what their inner callings are, and simply go where the crowd is going. And most people fear death, and more than death, they fear life, which makes them to act just as parts in the machinery of the society, while everyone ends up being used and using others. Parents marry for their own survival and bring up their children to help them survive once they are old. Children in their schools are pressurized by their teachers to do in meaningless tasks, who, under the authority of the schools, are used to make profit. And this whole chain of being used and using goes on, via the fears of life, death, poverty, suffering, or the state, or the family, keeps people being self oriented, keeps people from being self oriented. That is, caring about their own well being and what is good for them. To be selfish means to resist, to come out one's own comfort zones, to think for oneself, to refuse to go along the crowd, to keep struggling against one's fears and thinking about and discovering about what one really is capable of doing. But the task is such a nerve wracking one that most people, rather than being selfish, that is, in being self oriented simply for the sake of survival, choose to live a life where they neither live nor die.